Your credit score was invented in 1989. By 1995, the government made it mandatory for every mortgage in America. Nobody voted on this. No ballot measure, no congressional debate, no referendum. A private company created a three-digit number, and within 6 years, it controlled whether you could buy a house. And that was just the beginning. Because today, a credit score doesn't just decide if you get a mortgage. It decides if you get an apartment, a job, a car insurance, a cell phone plan. A three-digit number you didn't ask for now touches almost every financial decision in your life. So today we're doing something simple. We're going to look at the receipt, where this system came from, how it expanded, who it benefits, and what it actually measures. Because it's not what you think. Alright, let's start at the beginning because most people think credit scores have been around forever. They haven't. Before FICO, lending was personal. A banker looked you in the eyes, checked your references, maybe knew your family. It was subjective, inconsistent, and deeply discriminatory. Red lending, racial bias, gender bias, all baked into human judgment. So, in 1956, an engineer named Bill Fair and a mathematician named Herr Isaac started a company. Their pitch was simple. What if we could replace human bias with math? That sounds reasonable, right? Objective, fair, data-driven. But here is the thing about replacing one system with another. The new system doesn't erase the old one. It's inherited. 1989, FICO launches the first general-purpose credit score. Range 300 to 850. 5 factors: payment history, amount owed, length of credit history, recredit, and credit mixed. 1995, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac require FICO for all mortgage applications. This is the moment. Overnight, the score goes from optional to mandatory for the largest purchase most Americans will ever make. And then, it kept expanding. Auto loans adopted it. Credit card companies adopted it. Landlords start pulling credit. Insurance companies start pricing policies based on it. Employers start screening job applicants with it. Think about that progression. A tool designed to help banks make lending decisions is now used by your landlord, your insurance company, and your boss. Did anyone ask whether a lending algorithm should be used to determine if you get hired? Did anyone vote on whether your ability to rent an apartment should depend on how you manage a credit card at 19? No, it just happened. System creep. A tool built for one purpose quietly became the infrastructure for everything. Let's talk about how far this thing has reached. And I want to show you the actual numbers because every single stat I'm about to give comes from a named, verifiable source. 90% of top US lenders use FICO scores. Not some scores, not various scores, FICO specifically. One company's algorithm controls the gateway to credit for almost every American. 51% of employers run credit checks on job applications. More than half. If you fall behind on a medical bill during a period where you didn't have insurance, which is the #1 cause of bankruptcy in America, that can now prevent you from getting the job you need to pay off that bill. Think about the loop that creates. Drivers with poor credit pay up to 109% more for car insurance than drivers with excellent credit, even with identical driving records. Same car, same driving history, same neighborhood, double the price because of a number that has nothing to do with how you drive. And here is maybe the most damning part. 1 in 5 Americans have a material error on their credit reports. The FTC found that, not a blog, not a podcast, the Federal Trade Commission. That means roughly 40 million Americans are being scored on information that is factually wrong. 40 million people, wrong data, real consequences. Now, I want to go one layer deeper because everything I just said applies to everyone, but it doesn't hit everybody the same way. The median credit score for white Americans is 727. The median credit score for black Americans is 627, a 100-point gap. And before anyone says that about individual choices, let's think about what goes into a credit score. 35% of your score is on payment history. Can you pay your bills on time? Sounds neutral, but research shows that income volatility, meaning your paycheck isn't the same every month, is one of the strongest predictors of missed payments. And income volatility is significantly higher among blacks and Latino households, not because of spending habits, but because of the type of jobs available, the industry that hire, and the history of who was allowed to build wealth in this country. 30% is credit utilization. How much of your available credit you're using? If you have a $10,000 limit, then spend $3,000. That's 30%. Fine. But if you have a $1,000 limit, because lender gives you less money to begin with, and there is research that shows they do, then spending $300 puts you at 30%. You're being penalized not for spending more, but for beginning with less. 15% is length of credit history. If your parent added you to a credit card when you were 16, you enter adulthood with years of credit history. If they didn't because they didn't have credit themselves or didn't know the trick, you start at zero. The system rewards inherited advantage and calls it personal responsibility. I'm not saying FICO invented racial inequality. I'm saying it formalized it into a number, gave it a veneer of objectivity, and then we let that number spread into every corner of economic life without questioning whether it should be there. The math isn't biased, but the inputs are. And when biased input produce biased output, calling it objective doesn't make it fair. It just makes it harder to challenge. Now let's talk about something nobody mentions. Who profits from this? FICO is a publicly traded company. Ticker symbol, FICO. Their stock is trading above $1,000 a share. Their revenue model is simple. Every time a lender pulls your score, FICO gets paid. Every time you check your own score somewhere in that chain, FICO gets paid. But that's just the score. The real money is in the credit bureaus. Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. These are private for-profit companies that collect your financial data without your active consent, package it and sell it. They don't work for you. You are not the customer. You are their product. Remember Equifax 2017? They had a data breach that exposed the personal financial information of 147 million Americans, social security numbers, birth dates, addresses, credit history, all of it leaked. And what happened? They had a settlement that averaged out to about $4 per victim. $4 for your entire financial identity. These companies have your data. They'll profit from your data. They've proven they cannot protect your data, and you have no meaningful way to opt out. Try living in America without a credit score. Try renting. Try getting a car loan. Try getting hired. You cannot opt out of a system that is embedded in daily life. That's not free market. That's a toll booth. Okay, so I just spent minutes telling you the system is rigged. So what do? You play the game and you understand the game. Those aren't contradictions. Step 1. Go to annualcreditreport.com, the only federally authorized site, and put your report for all 3 bureaus. It's free. Look for errors. 1 in 5 people have them. If you find something, dispute it. The bureaus are legally required to investigate within 30 days. Step 2. Understand what moves the number. Payment history and utilization ratio makes up 65% of the number. Set up auto pay minimums on everything, even if you pay more later. Ask for a credit limit increase without increasing your spending. That drops the utilization ratio instantly. Step 3. Know when the score is being used unfairly against you. If an employer rejects you based on a credit check, they legally require to tell you. It's called an adverse action notice under the Fair Reporting Credit Act. If a landlord rejects you, same thing. Know you're right, because most people don't, and that's part of how the system works. It counts on you not knowing the rules. Step 4. Talk about this. Seriously, the reason why this system persists isn't that they're invincible. It's that most people don't know how they work. Every time you explain to someone that credit scores were invented in 1989, the employer is screening with them. The insurance charges more for bad credit with a perfect driving record. You're making the system visible. And a system that is visible is a system that can be changed. Your credit score is not a measure of your worth. It's a measure of your behavior under a system you didn't design and didn't consent to. It was built by a private company, mandated by quasi-government agencies, expanded by industries that find it convenient. And now it touches your housing, your job, your insurance, and your future. That doesn't make you powerless. It means the first step isn't actually fixing your score. It's actually understanding what your score actually is. That's the receipt. I'll see you on the next one.